Dallas Stars rookie Justin Ritkscovian plays his first game in his hometown of Montreal tonight. We'll hear from head coach Glenn Gulutzan on the special occasion, an update on Ernie, who suffered a lower body injury in Ottawa. We'll preview the Canadiens and take a look at the Athletic Power Rankings.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, forward producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. The Dallas Stars wrap up their mini Canadian swing tonight in Montreal, and Dallas Stars rookie Justin Ritkscovian, a native of Quebec City, will get a chance to play in front of his hometown friends and family tonight. It's going to be a special one at the Bell Center. We'll preview the Montreal Canadiens. Unfortunately, the Stars are going to be down another forward. Ernie suffered a lower body injury. He left early in Ottawa the other night. We have an update on that and how it's going to affect the Stars lineup here moving forward. We'll also take a peek at the Athletic Power Rankings for this week. Where do you think the Dallas Stars fall? Let me know in the comments below. But let's get into this jammed-packed show here on a Thursday. Well, Ritkscovian has been a lot of fun to watch here this season, and I do want to share a few thoughts on him before we get into a quote from Glenn Gulutzan about what he has seen. But I've really enjoyed watching him play. And just a couple of months ago, we got to a point where I thought Ritkscovian was going to be blocked from having an opportunity to make the opening night roster when the Stars went out and signed Nathan Bastion pretty late in free agency. And at the time, of course, Jamie Benn was healthy. Everybody was healthy at that point. So it looked like Justin Ritkscovian was going to have to stay in the AHL for now. Although we came into the year thinking he was going to have a really good shot of maybe winning a roster spot, whether that was going to be the 12th or 13th forward. Of course, the injuries have allowed him to sort of play every single night now, and he's played 16 games, has a couple of goals. I love the energy he brings, and I think you can see the confidence growing in his game as well. And they've moved him up and down the lineup a bit. You know, recently he's been playing with Borky and Oscar Beck, and he's had some shots with Dutchy at points with Sagan. They're giving him some good opportunities. He scored a couple of beautiful goals here as well. And first off, I think that's great to see from a guy you were hoping was going to crack the lineup, let alone really be a steady piece night in and night out. And yeah, maybe the injuries have something to do with that. But the great thing about it is once Ben gets healthy, Dutchy, Ernie comes back, there's going to be real decisions the Stars have to make. Do you send a guy like Ritkscovian back down to the AHL? I think he's making a great case that he deserves to stay up right now from what we've seen. So I've just been really impressed. And, he chips in here and there. He's physical. He's not afraid to stand up for teammates. We've seen him get in a couple of fights. I don't think you could ask more out of a young player. But here is head coach Glenn Gulutzan's thoughts on Ritzy here in the early going this season.
Well, young guys like that are trying to break in the league, you're hoping that they bring energy every night, and that's what he does. He brings energy every night. But then if you scale down his game a little bit smaller area, he's obviously a very competitive guy, and but he wins battles. He wins puck battles. So and those kind of guys are hard to play against. They win puck battles. They're tenacious on the puck, and they can keep you in the offensive zone and keeps other players at bay. So I think that's the quality that I've seen pop out in him. His competitiveness and his ability to win battles.
He does have a little Logan Stankoven in his game where he is just relentless on the forecheck. Obviously, similar height, similar weight. and they kind of have to go about their business the same way. And this was a guy that was undrafted, right, coming out of Northeastern, had a great year in Texas last season, 22 goals and 60 points in 67 games, and he's shown the ability to score some like big time goals, some goal scorer goals, I would say as well. And I mentioned he got an opportunity here recently. He's playing with Bork and Beck a bit. They've played 24 minutes at 5-on-5, and some of the numbers are pretty good. 2 goals for, 2 goals against. They have an expected goals for of 0.87. Nothing to jump up and down about, but their expected goals against 0.55. So they're not giving up a ton. 7 shots for, 6 against. So they are doing a lot of good things with one another. Bork is, I feel like, in a similar spot of Ritskovian as well, where if they can start to elevate their offensive game, add that to their repertoire, the Stars could be in really good shape. I kind of see them very similarly in a lot of ways. Still 2 different styles of players. Again, I think Ritskovian is more your Logan Stankoven type, and then you have Bork, who kind of plays his own style, right? I would say, I guess, I don't know if more like a Wyatt Johnston, I would say, of course, not talking the same level, but sort of a playmaker, likes to kind of hold on to pucks. Bork's got 5 points in 17 games. If he can start chipping in a bit more, I know they would like to get some more out of him. I think that would be get a little more from those 2 guys, but obviously going to be a special night in Montreal. He's a native of Quebec City. I honestly don't know how to say the hometown. It looks like Lille Bizard. Probably butchering that. French is not so good. But I gave it my best there. That's a funky city, to say the least. But it should be a great night in Montreal. And I think it was nice to highlight Ritzy a bit as well, since he's turned some heads. And as I kind of mentioned, I think it'll make some decisions or make the coaching staff have to think hard about some decisions if they do get healthy at some point. Although they have another blow to that. This is sort of a short and sweet answer, but did want you to hear it from the horse's mouth about Dallas Stars forward Adam Ernie.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little bit here. I would say, we're talking a few weeks. So with a lower body injury, and he'll be going home tomorrow and get reevaluated. But I think it'll be a few weeks.
So Ernie left early in Ottawa. I want to say it was the second period. It could have been the third, but he came up rather gingerly after one shift. He was able to get off under his own power, but did not return to the game. So the Stars are now down another forward. They can go 12-6 if they want to bring in Bastion. They can do 11-7. Gulutzan touched on, they have a couple different options if they do want to bring Kyle Capobianco back in, who's played a couple of games here this season once Lundqvist went down. So I would look for Bastion to maybe check back in. Bastion has played in 13 games. I'm trying to think of the last game he ended up checking into. It was on the 4th against Edmonton. I imagine he probably was going to get Bastion into one of these games to kind of begin the road trip. He doesn't want them sitting too much. So it's been a while since Bastion checked in. So they could go with that, or if they want to go 11-7, Kyle Capobianco can check back in. So that's sort of the immediate effects on the Stars roster. Ben seems to be getting closer, probably a week or so, but that certainly helps. And I don't think the Stars are going to have to necessarily dive into Cedar Park or anything at this point, as I think they still have enough fresh bodies to kind of handle some of it. But it's another stinger, right? It's just one more guy to add to the list that the Stars aren't going to have, and they're already banged up as it is. So That was a tough blow the other night in Ottawa. But did want to have an update on Ernie and company and how that's going to affect the lineup tonight in Montreal. So let's preview the Canadiens who are rocking and rolling to begin this season. Can the Stars slow down Caufield, who is firing on all cylinders? We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Drip Drop. When you're hydrated, everything just works better. Your focus, energy, mood, even your skin. That's why you need to use Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps you running at full power no matter what your day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. It actually tastes really good. They have a great flavor. It can be your secret weapon to staying sharp. Sometimes those hydration, powders can have a weird aftertaste. Not with this. And hydration is key for everybody, right? It helps you feel sharper. So use Drip Drop. And right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. That's dripdrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. The Montreal Canadiens are going to be another tough matchup for the Dallas Stars tonight. The Canadiens are off and running to a 10-4-2 start. They are first in the Atlantic Division. They have 22 points. And boy, do they have some lethal shooters. Caufield, the Wisconsin native, leads the NHL with 11 even strength goals. The Stars will have to find a way to shut him down. And Nick Suzuki, who I believe is just a Dallas Stars killer. I don't know the exact numbers, but he seems to light up the Stars when Dallas comes to town. He leads them with 20 points. Caufield's right behind him with 18. Lane Hutson, they're very talented young defensemen. The Stars have kind of run into teams here lately that are in similar boats. They were all sort of bad over the last 3 or 4 years in a lot of ways. But now the young talent, the high draft picks, is really starting to pay dividends. And you see that with Montreal. Remember, they went out and got Noah Dobson. That was a big deal. Dobson has 11 points in 16 games. I think very underrated as a D-man. So they have a lot of skill, and their goaltending is sublime. Sam Montembeault's not having a great year. 8.61 save percentage, 3.52 goals against, but Jakub Dobas has been really good for them. He's 6-0-1. Yeah, that was supposed to be their backup coming in. He's been their number one, though. 920 save percentage, 2.25 goals against. He has been spectacular to begin this season. Montembeault put up an incredible performance against the Stars last season. So on any given night, he can be excellent. Of course, usually the case with everybody involved. But Montreal's a team. They play physical. They play fast. I think you're going to see a lot of similarities to what we saw in Ottawa. Like, they just play a million miles an hour, and the Stars need to be ready. Right? It's remarkable to think the Stars are now 4-0-1 this season when trailing by 2 goals. Can you believe that? 4-0-1. I don't know how they do it, but they have to snap out of the weak starts. They have to snap out of it because it's really not a recipe for success. Look, albeit it is exciting. It's fantastic when they do come back. But we all know when push comes to shove, when all the marbles, when you're going all in, it's just not a way to be successful. We saw that in the spring, right? Didn't the Stars trail in 15 of the 18 games in the postseason? And yeah, they won the first 2 rounds. But when you play a really good team like Edmonton that can put you away, we saw what happened in 5 games. So the Stars have to snap out of that. They were stuck in mud in that first period in Ottawa. And this is another young team that has legs. They play fast. They just got beat 5-1, and they were dominated by the Kings. So they are going to be ready. You're going to get a team that is fully prepared to bounce back. It was at home too, so they want to have a much better showing tonight at the Bell Center. They are 6th in goals for, 18th in goals against. They've allowed 51 goals this season. If you just take a look at some of the head-to-head numbers, their power play is 5th. Their PK is 14th. Face-off percentage is over 50%. They're top 5 in goals for, and they're 19th in goals against. They're 6-2-2 coming into tonight, pretty similar to Dallas. They actually are pretty similar to the Stars in a lot of categories, really outside of maybe goals for. The Stars offense has been struggling here, at least quantity-wise. They're finding ways to bury their chances they do get, and it'll be fascinating to see how they match up against the Canadiens tonight. Man, I hope the robo goal, the power play goal on Tuesday sort of unleashes something for him. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and now it's been kind of brought up here on Twitter, I've seen, and the broadcast on Victory Plus. Like, Robertson's shooting percentage is well below average. It's at 5%. He usually kind of hovers around 14. Like, that's his average. So maybe that unlocks something in him and he can start going on a tear. He's still a point per game, but they need him to chip in, right? Score goals. That's what he does. And it's not for lack of looks. He's had so many good looks. He leads the Stars in shots on goal. He has 69. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. But he has 117 shot attempts. Something went down the wrong pipe. Oh my goodness. Sorry for those of you that had to hear that. That was something. Crying here a bit. It's just so emotional what Robo has gone through here over the last week or so. But hopefully that unlocks something. The Stars' recipe for success is sort of what it is. But we need to see them continue to trend in the right direction. It's all fine and dandy to use injuries as excuses, and I have a bit, but there's also performances where, like, is Duchesne been changing it that much? That's concerning, and I'd like to see them stay away from periods like we saw in Ottawa to begin tonight. Those just can't happen, those stretches where they're completely dominated because they failed to get the puck out of their own zone. They failed to just really compete at the right level. Like the effort just isn't there. It feels like at points, like they're not engaged in the battle, and they have to be ready right off the hop here in Montreal. Again, I think you're going to get one of the best games for Montreal coming off a 5-1 loss to LA. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on here tonight in Montreal. Stars and Canadiens should be a fun one. I'll give you a prediction before we get into power rankings. Why not? I'll say 3-2 Canadiens tonight. I know I usually go with the Stars to win. I'll say 3-2. Let's say 3-2 overtime. Stars get a point. For whatever reason, they claw their way to get a point. They hold in there, and they lose past regulation. That's going to be my prediction. 3-2 Canadiens. I think they're going to be ready tonight. And I just hope Dallas doesn't get run out of the building. It's sort of where I'm at. Alrighty, let's look at the Athletic Power Rankings. Where did the Dallas Stars fall this week? Let me know in the comments below. I'll share it in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making the late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So what are you waiting for? FanDuel has everything you need for this weekend to stack up and have some fun when you're watching the Dallas Stars, when you're watching college football or the NFL on Sundays. FanDuel is there for you. And, of course, the NBA. FanDuel giving new customers $3 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So The Athletic puts out their weekly power rankings, and always love to check in every so often just to see where the Stars are hovering. And I want you to predict where you think the Stars land here this week. This was put out on November 7th. So it was last Friday, so it doesn't factor in some of the Stars' latest wins, but who cares? It's as up to date as it's going to get at this point. Number one, though, is the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs are going to be a problem. The Avs are going to be a real problem. They are just destroying everybody. They have one regulation loss, and they're much deeper than they have been, probably since they won the Stanley Cup. So they're going to be a problem. I'll say it again. They will be a problem. Avs number one this week. Anaheim's number two. Man, they've been great. The Stars, of course, saw that. New Jersey's been awesome. They come in at number three. The Stars are in the top 10, by the way. They are in the top 10. Winnipeg comes in at number 5, so that's another Central Division team. You have the Canadiens at 6, Vegas 7, Utah Mammoth at 8. So, yes, a third Central Division team. And then your Dallas Stars come in at number 9. They jumped to a couple of spots from their previous ranking the week prior. At this point, they were 7-4-3. So the Stars come in at number 9. They're the 4th Central Division team in the Central. Man, Chicago's good this year. Utah, of course, the Central is going to be an absolute bloodbath, it feels like. Although they do have some teams like Minnesota who we thought is going to be there. I don't think they are anymore. St. Louis, they're just awful. So it's sort of there's teams that we expected to kind of be there or not, but the teams that maybe we thought were maybe going to be interesting, like they're not really interesting anymore. Like they're just good. So the Central is still good as ever. But it says here, probably a bit early for Wyatt Johnston, but he's in the process of making it tough on Team Canada for the Olympics, of course. They touch on Robertson and how he was left off the U.S. team, and his goal scoring is really slow because, as we mentioned, it's the lowest of his career in terms of shooting percentage. I mean, I would love for Wyatt to make Team Canada. It seems like he's on the outside looking in. I also think it's going to be really tough for him just because Celebrini and Bedard are like guys, and they're a much sexier pick than Wyatt Johnston is. They're much sexier than Wyatt. Although Wyatt, I think, deserves to have a shot, maybe deserves to be on the roster, but Celebrini and Bedard are making a strong case too. And those are two guys coming in that I don't think they were locks. They were actually probably on the outside looking in. I'd probably I bet Johnston was sort of maybe closer to making the roster coming into this year, but Celebrini and Bedard have looked phenomenal. So maybe that comes at the detriment to Johnston, but all I can do is continue to get better, continue to make it tough. And he does have Jim Nill, who is, a GM of Team Canada, sort of a part of making the roster. So he does have somebody in the building that will fight for him. Robertson, man, I would think he's kind of a lock. I know he's left off during the Four Nations. I would think he has to be on there, but it is another slow start goal scoring wise. If he does start to unload the floodgates, maybe he makes it. Of course, would love to have him on there. The more stars in the Olympics, the better. It gives you more games to watch, at least more games to kind of be really into. Of course, we got Finland. I'm going to watch USA anyways. So like Otter's going to be there, and like Robo to be there as well. But the Stars coming at number 9 to round out your top 10. Toronto is at number 10. To look at some of the Central, just to see where some other teams lead. So Nashville, it's another team, just crap. They're 31st in this one. The Blues are 30th and the Wild are 29th. So the Central has 4 teams in the top 10, and then they have 3 in the bottom 5. That's kind of the state of the Central right now. It is just fascinating to see how some teams get off to starts. To look at it more updated, so if we look at the Central, because there has been a couple games played since those power rankings were released, it goes Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg, your top 3, Utah, Chicago, and then your bottom 3, Minnesota, St. Louis, and Nashville. Man, just Nashville made all those moves just to be dwellers for back-to-back years. They don't have any answers. St. Louis is fascinating. Like, Bennington has just not been good either. Did not really see that coming. I was pumping Bennington's tires. I feel like all summer we had that crossover episode with Locked On Blues, Haley, and I always give Bennington rave reviews. Well, he hasn't lived up to it at all. And it's certainly showed in the Blues play. So it's really weird. Like, the Central's deep, but it doesn't really, maybe not like it used to with some of the starts some of these other have. And, the Stars have way more experience in a team like Utah and Chicago. So you have to like where they kind of sit right now. But Colorado's going to be the team to catch. It feels like they're going to be Winnipeg from, was it last year? Yeah, it was last year where they just pretty much ran away with the Central. And the Stars made it kind of interesting down the stretch, but they definitely ran away with it. But that is a look at your NHL power rankings here on a Thursday. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Stars. As always, thank you so much for the love and support on each and every episode. Looking forward to tonight. Always special when the Stars get to play in Montreal. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. We'll be back tomorrow to kick you off into your weekend. Hopefully break down a Stars victory. I got 3-2 Montreal tonight in OT. That's my prediction. Have a great day, Stars fans, and we'll see you tomorrow. So long.